GameSci.com. GameSci.com.
Hola amigos! Welcome to PHP Images. Woohoo! When building a website using a PHP program, one of the most common tasks is to output HTML to display an image on the page. Could happen thousands of times on a large website, but it is similar to displaying links, so we will cover both in this slide. I will now share with you two of the most important variables you will ever see when your PHP program needs to create thousands of HTML image tags or anchor links. $URL and $dir. The goal is to make it easy to change and maintain your PHP code. $URL equals http://www.anydomain.com. It may not seem to be a big deal to create a variable with the URL for the web page at the top of the code or the top of the class for OOP, but it is a big deal. Web addresses change. If you reference this URL in 1,000 locations in the PHP, one edit can update all 1,000 spots versus having to do 1,000 individual edits. $dir equals /host/anydomain/www. This is almost the same thing as $URL. It is the home directory on the hard drive of the web page where your index.php or your .html file resides. When you want to access an image file or a text file, use $dir. On some hosts, it's in the www folder. In others, it's in htdocs. It's the same idea as $URL. One change changes all directory references in your program. $image equals $URL dot /images. $image_dir equals $dir dot /images. I have limited space, so I shrunk the font and did not label the variables over here. $image URL is used to create image tags. All images can be copied to one folder, and it makes them easier to find and easier to maintain. Later in this lesson, we'll see how a PHP program can open, change, and display a modified image to the viewer with $image_dir. $GameURL equals $URL dot /games. $GameDir equals $dir dot /games. Let's say you're building a website selling used game cartridges. For each game in stock, you make a web page and you want to link to it. $GameURL is the prefix for each link to a game for sale. $GameDir is very useful. PHP programs can scan directories and open and read files from them. Once again, I didn't label the variables over here, but these are two separate variables holding these two values. $userdir equals $dir dot /users. It is simple website organization 101. You don't just dump 1,000 files into the same directory. Image files go in the images folder. Game pages go in the games folder. User files go in the users directory. Note how all build off $URL and $dir. I don't have to change 1,000 image or anchor tags. I have to change two variables at the top of the code when I have a new domain or a new host. Variable setup occurs at the top of the code or at the top of the class with object-oriented programming. Now let's jump to the middle of the code where we generate the web page. So this is later in the code. Even a small site can have hundreds of image tags. If you hard code them, it's 100 edits needed to change your host. But use $image_URL and all 100 image tags can be updated with one small change to $URL. Note the variable expansion that is happening here. I'm going to print my image tag. Inside of double quotes here, $image_URL will expand to the full address specified by $URL and $image_URL. If you go ahead and look at the output, you can see the full web page domain is listed, then the subdirectory where my images are located, and finally the name of the file. Super easy to make changes if later on I change my directory or my host name. The only thing more common than images on a web page is links to other pages on the same website. Same technique will make it easy to create thousands of links that can be changed with one small edit. Use $game URL and all 1000A or anchor tags can be updated with one small change to $URL. Note the variable expansion. It's easy to update this code. I'm going to print a href. There's my anchor tag that will link to another page in this website. $game URL is built out of this variable in the games folder, and this variable right here, my main website address, and I'll link to that address. If you go over here under the output, you'll see it expanded out the domain name. It used the games folder, and it's linking to this file. A simple update to this variable or that variable will allow me to change every link on my website. The same technique works with reading disk files. Not all sites read files. Simple sites and ones that store everything in a database don't read files. But if you do, that's what $dir is for. I added a subfolder to users. This could be used in images and/or games if it was needed. If you have too many files in one folder, you want to break it out into subfolders. In this example, I added a subfolder for each user. $user is a variable that contains the username of the person logged onto the website. If each user gets their own subfolder in the user's directory, I can use that variable to access their specific files. $FD equals open, double quote, $user dir, so I go to the directory, /$user, so I go to a specific user's directory, and then I access the file data ini. You can see how it expands down here. My $user dir right there, and then my user folder will be Fred, and there's Fred's file in their own folder. Now this is built out of two other variables, right? User dir comes from here, but that also comes from the main directory file listing. So if I change the main directory or I change the user folder, it's simple to update where my user files go. Let's see why we do it this way. Now we change the domain, any domain, to new dom. You can see in red I changed the main address of my website. And of course, if I change my main address, my directory name also changes. It happens. The company changes its name, or they buy a better domain, or they want to sell the same website to another company. I'm going to change these two variables, and you can see the updates occur right there. By changing those two variables, boom! All the variables in HTML auto-adjust. I don't have to change 1,000 links. I don't have to change 100 variables. Just two small edits, and the entire site works under the new domain name. Once I change URL and dir, you can see all my other variables updated to reflect the new address, new dom, new dom, new dom, new dom, new dom. Every variable updates, and even better, the HTML that outputs from my PHP programs. All of that HTML automatically updates, and the new website address automatically generates when we run the program after changing those two variables. Do you see what I'm talking about? Two simple changes. Two. All I had to do, and all the code in all my web pages updates automatically. Even more common, what if we changed web hosts? We move from a GoDaddy hosting site to an Amazon one. You can easily transfer your domain name to a new hosting site, but most likely the directories on the new host will be different. In this case, we can change one variable this time, and the site will update. Since I changed web hosts, my main directory changed. Remember, it used to be www, it's now htdocs. Different web hosts have different directory structures, and this web is different, and this htdocs is different. I had to update the directories where all my files are being stored on the new host. All the code accessing files then adjusts to the new directories. Good code is easy to change. Bad code is hard to change. You can see my directory names all update when I change $dir. Here's a change over here. Here's a change over here. If there's 100 different places where I open and read files on my website, all 100 places would update with that one little change to $dir. To be honest, I only intended to cover creating image tags, so it's easy to move your PHP code to different domains, hosts, or website. But since creating anchor tags and file access is the same as image tags, it was covered also. The goal is always to create portable code, easy to move, easy to maintain, easy to change. You can always tell the quality of code when you try to make a change to it. If you could move your code from one web host to another web host without making 1,000 changes to the code, you've done a good job. PHP graphics. A PHP program can dynamically generate and display graphics and/or images. Instead of creating an image tag where you hard code the name of a file, it is replaced by a new image tag where you run a PHP program. Instead of displaying my picture.gif, I would like this image tag to run the program bargraph.php, where the PHP program returns a graphic for display. This requires the GD library, or graphics draw, that most web hosts support. PHP graphics. This is where I usually apologize for all the hard-coded numbers in the code, but not this time. The best way to understand pixels, RGB, and XY coordinates with graphics is to see the actual values in the code. In your real code, please use variables and calculations to display graphics, but while we're learning it, we're going to use hard-coded values in our examples. Header, content type, :image/png. We are going to send notice to the client that we will be returning a PNG graphics file from this PHP program. 99% of the time, PHP automatically outputs header, content type, text/HTML. This is the 1% of the time PHP outputs a graphic image instead. This must be the first line of output from our PHP program. PHP does support other image files. If I did a header with a JPEG or a header with a GIF there, I'd be sending a different format graphics file back. $image equals image create true color, parentheses 200, 200. Create a 200 pixel width, 200 pixel height canvas for our graphic. The XY coordinate 00 is the top left corner of the image. The XY coordinate 199, 199 is the bottom right corner of the image. Top left is 00. Bottom right of a 200 by 200 image is 199, 199. This is a newer version of a function called image create. You will often see this image create and pass it to two values. True color is just a better version, newer version. $image is a critical variable. Modify $image and the image display is changed. It's much like $SQLDB was for our database access. Everything that goes on with its image will go through the variable $image. You want to change the image, you change this variable. $red equals image color allocate, $image, 255. Gamers will recognize RGB, red, green, blue color, where each pixel displayed is a mix of three primary colors. The 255 means we want a lot of red. The 0 next to it means no green, and the 0 at the end means no blue. In other words, $red represents the color pure red. $green equals image color allocate, $image, 0. This first 0 is no red. I want no red in this color. The 255 means we want a lot of green, and the last 0 means we want no blue. In other words, $green represents pure green. In RGB, why do we use 255? With 8-bit graphics, 2 to the 8th power is 256. The largest 8-bit binary number is decimal 255, so 255 represents maximum green, And 0 is the smallest 8-bit value. So 0 for red and 0 for blue means I want no red and no blue. $blue equals image color allocate, $image, comma. The 00 is no red and no green. The 255 is maximum blue. In other words, $blue represents pure blue. All colors are a mix of these three values. 000 means all colors off. That's black. 255, 255, 255 means all colors max, which is pure white. Other colors, orange, yellow, or purple, are created by various values for the three RGB parameters. It's a pretty easy thing to Google. Just say RGB colors orange, and it'll tell you what values you need to input for orange. Image filled rectangle, $image. Draw a filled rectangle on $image. The 00 is the XY coordinate of the top left corner of the rectangle. There's 00 right there. The 50, 160 is the XY coordinate of the bottom right corner of the rectangle. And if you don't know why this is red, you haven't been paying much attention. 00, top left corner. 50, 160, bottom right corner. Image filled rectangle, $image, comma, 70, 50. Let's draw a rectangle on $image. 70, 50 is the XY coordinate of the top left corner of the rectangle. 120, 160 is the XY coordinate of the bottom right corner of the rectangle. Image rectangle with the same parameters would draw a green outline of a box, but since we called filled, it's a filled rectangles. Image filled rectangle, $image, comma 140, 100. Let's draw a filled rectangle on $image. 140, 100 is the XY coordinate of the top left corner of the rectangle. 190, 160 is the XY coordinate of the bottom right corner of the rectangle. Keep in mind, the canvas is 200 by 200. Note the gap between 190 and 200 here. I'm trying to stay within the image limits, and there's a small gap between 190 and the edge of the image 200. If you draw things past 200, they won't show up on the canvas. Image string, $image, 5. Draw a text string on $image. It's not Mambo number 5, it's font number 5. Font number 1 is the smallest font. Font number 5 is the largest font. The 47,170 is the XY coordinates of the top left corner of the text written to $image. So this is 47, 170 right there, top left corner. Many image functions to draw lines, arcs, circles, polygons, etc. Filled or not filled. If you Google PHP image functions, you'll learn all sorts of different functions are out there for drawing on your canvas. You kids today with your Google, you've got it so lucky. We used to have to go to a bookshelf, pull out a book, find the page, look it up. Right now, all you have to do is PHP, draw a circle, and boom, there's examples of drawing circles. Image PHP and pass it $image. Technically, it is this call that takes $image composed on the server and sends it back to the browser for display. If you do not call this function, nothing will be shown on the browser. There's also an image GIF and an image JPEG that are supported formats. Make sure the header matches this call. If you call image PNG, the header has to be PNG. If you call image GIF, then the header has to be GIF. Same for JPEG. This is what actually sends $image from the server to the browser for display on the screen. Image destroy $image. Image destroy frees the memory used on the server to create $image. Note the line above it has already sent the image back to the browser for display. If you're building large graphics or a page gets millions of views generating millions of images, it is important to free the memory on the server. Servers don't have unlimited memory. This will free up all the extra memory that the server used to create the image. But you have to call it after you send the image back to the browser. We have barely scratched the surface on what we can do. Many image functions to draw lines, arcs, circles, polygons, etc. Google PHP image functions to see an overview of all of them, or Google PHP draw a circle or PHP draw a triangle to get specific examples of drawing those shapes. Remember, this program is run using an image tag. In the image tag, you list a PHP program. It will generate a graphics file for the browser to display. These are much more dynamic than static images. PHP Image Create. A PHP program can dynamically load and or modify JPEG, GIF, or PNG images. Normally we display an image with this tag, image source equals picture.jpg. This is replaced by image source equals getPicture.php, where the PHP program returns an image for display. This requires the GD library, or graphics draw library, that most web hosts support. PHP Image Create. This is where I usually apologize for all the hard-coded numbers in the code. Ugh, that's a lot of hard-coded numbers. But not this time. The best way to understand pixels, RGB, and XY coordinates with graphics is to see the actual values. In your real code, please use variables and calculations to display the graphics. But when you want to learn it, you need to see the numbers so you can see their effects right away. Header, content type, image/JPEG. 99% of the time, PHP automatically outputs header, content type, text/HTML. You don't have to do anything. PHP just sends that back to the browser. This is the 1% time where PHP is going to output a graphic image instead of HTML. This must be the first line of output in your program. PHP does support other image formats. You can do a header for PNG. You can do a header for GIF. This time we're doing JPEG, but you can choose which image file format you want to send back. $image equals image create from JPEG, picture.jpg. Load an image file from my hard drive into the $image variable so that I can output it to the browser. Load an image file from the same directory as the PHP program file. The image's top left corner is XY coordinate 00, and the bottom right of the image is the width and height of that image. $image is a critical variable. If you modify $image, the image displayed is also changed. And of course, there's also versions of this functions for GIF and PNG also if you change this right there. $red equals image color allocate, and we'll pass it 255, 0, and 0. Gamers recognize RGB, red, green, blue color, where each pixel displayed is a mix of 3 primary colors. The 255 means we want a lot of red, the next 0 is no green, and the last 0 is no blue. In other words, $red represents the color pure red. $black equals image color allocate, $image, and this time 3 zeros. The 0, 0, 0 is no red, no green, and no blue. In other words, the absence of color is black. RGB, why is it 255? With 8-bit graphics, 2 to the 8th power is 256. The largest 8-bit binary number is decimal 255. The smallest 8-bit binary number is 0. So when you want no color, you put 0 in for red, green, and blue, and you get black. $white equals image color allocate, $image, 255, 255, 255. The 255, 255, 255 is maximum red, green, and blue. In other words, all colors full blast is pure white. Other colors like orange, yellow, or purple is created by mixing various values for the 3 RGB parameters. Just like you mix paint colors to create new colors, you mix different numbers for these 3 values and you'll get different colors. Now this is the easiest thing in the world to Google. what is the RGB values for purple? And one of those websites will tell you what the RGB values for purple are. Image arc, dollar image, and lots of parameters. Let's discuss the parameters. Draw an arc slash circle on dollar image. The 160, 100 is the XY coordinates from the top left corner of the picture. So start at 0, 0 here, and 160, 100 is right about there. The 32 width and the 32 height, equal width and height, will make this a circle. The next two parameters, 0 and 360, makes it a full circle, or 360 degrees. Start at 0 and go a full 360 degrees around. Image arc is used to do pie charts. You're not always going to do a full circle with image arc. If you're drawing a pie chart on the screen, you'll use less than 360 degrees. And of course, the dollar black is obvious. Draw the circle as a black circle. Image filled arc, dollar image, and again, a lot of parameters. Draw a filled arc on dollar image. The 105, 100 is the XY coordinate from the top left corner of the picture. So start here at 0, 0, go 105 pixels this way and 100 pixels that way, and you'll get this coordinate right there. A 40, 20 width and height makes this an oval. I want 40 pixels wide and 20 pixels high. And the 0, 360 makes it a full oval. If I did 180 degrees, it would be a half oval. Image filled arc can easily draw a partial circle or oval. I'm just drawing things on this image just to show you how to draw things on images. No offense, George. Image line, dollar image, 130, 155. Let's draw a line on dollar image. 130, 155 is the XY coordinate from the top left corner of the picture. This is a start point of the line. So go 130 by 150 and you'll get to this coordinate on the image. This is one of the ends of the line. 150, 175 is the XY coordinate of the end point of the line. So there's 150, 175 from this point right there. A line requires you to find 2 points. It's as simple as that. The first two numbers here are the starting point of one end of the line. The next two numbers are the end point of the line. And of course, dollar red makes it a red line. Image line, dollar image, 130, 175. Draw a line on dollar image. The 130, 175 is the XY coordinate from the top left corner of the picture. That is the starting point of the line. The 150, 155 is the XY coordinate of the end point of the line. All you have to do is to find 2 points. PHP will draw a line between those 2 points. Image JPEG, dollar image. Technically, it is this call that takes the dollar image composed on the server and sends it back to the browser for display. If you do not call this function, nothing's shown on the browser. There's also versions for GIF and a version for PNG. Those are other formats that PHP also supports. But if you do change that, you need to change the header, the create from, the file extension. If I was going to change this to a GIF image, I'd also have to change this to GIF, this to GIF, and this to GIF. Make sure that your image file formats coordinate inside the code. This line of code sends dollar image from the server to the browser, and all of this will be displayed on the web page. Image destroy, dollar image. Image destroy frees the memory used on the server to create dollar image. Note the line above it has already sent the image back to the browser. If you're building large graphics or a page with millions of views generating millions of images, it is important to free the memory on the server. We have barely scratched the surface of what we can do. Many image functions to draw lines, arcs, circles, polygons, etc. are out there. All you have to do is Google PHP image functions or Google PHP draw a polygon, and you'll see plenty of references and plenty of examples. Remember, the program itself, the PHP program itself, is run using an image tag. Image source equals picture.php says run this PHP program that returns an image for the browser to display. Woohoo! We're done with this slide. Graphics programming is one of the easiest ways to learn programming because you get all that visual feedback on what's happening. If you try to draw something on this man's face and it doesn't show up, you know you did it wrong. So I highly recommend, especially to beginning programmers, go out and do yourself some graphics programming. It's a good way to learn to code. You get that instant visual feedback. That wraps it up. We'll see you on the next lesson.